in West Michigan. Lots of kids will be showing off their prized animals they've raised.
This year, though, they are facing an unusual problem, bird flu. Fox 17's Tracy Hinson is in Van Buren County now with all the details.
Poultry barns at fairs statewide will be missing one thing this year, and it's the actual birds.
There is going to be no exhibitions of poultry in the state, so the counties do not have a say. It's a state call.
The Michigan Department of Agriculture has implemented a statewide ban on all poultry exhibitions due to avian influenza, also known as the bird flu. It's a virus that affects domestic chickens, turkeys, and waterfowl.
What happens is they can't breathe very well, then they start, and their eyes start getting goopy. And so they really, within a short amount of time, go from a healthy bird to a very unhealthy bird.
The virus can cause the birds to die suddenly or experience flu-like symptoms. There are currently no cases of the bird flu in Michigan, but the Department of Agriculture wants to minimize risks. Oftentimes, fairs have hundreds of birds in closed areas, and if one bird is sick, the virus is easily spread, so it is likely all birds at the fair would get sick.
If this were to get to Michigan and it was in their flock, then their flock would have to be euthanized.
For kids.
And so then June 8th, this is posted, so 5 days later, bird flu cases confirmed in Michigan. The first cases of avian influenza in Michigan were confirmed in free-range Canada geese found in Macomb County, according to a release from the Michigan DNR. 3 goslings tested positive for the virus, according to the DNR. The bird flu can infect free-range and domestic poultry such as geese, chickens, turkeys, and quail. Geese do not generally pass the virus on, according to a release. Generally, they don't. Let's see. DNR officials say the virus is not a food safety concern, and no human infections have been detected in the United States. Okay, so it's not a food safety concern because they're killing all the poultry. But the thing that amazes me is it says, and no human infections have been detected in the United States. So that tells me that it is possible, maybe, that it could infect humans. Who knows? Anyhow, so Michigan is the 21st state to report a case of bird flu since December, and there have been 226 bird flu detections across the country, which has affected roughly 50 million birds. Most of these cases were in Iowa and Minnesota, according to the release. Okay, so this just posted this morning. The worst U.S. bird flu outbreak in history expands to Michigan. And yay, that's where I live, so awesome. It says here, Michigan on Monday said Canadian geese in the state tested positive for a lethal strain of bird flu, bringing the worst outbreak of the disease in U.S. history to a 21st state. 3 young geese collected in Sterling Heights, Michigan, about 20 miles north of Detroit, were infected with the highly pathogenic H5N2 flu strain, according to the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. The state is now focusing on preventing the spread of the disease to poultry. So, before I continue reading, I just want to point out, if the geese have it, and since geese don't need passports and they can fly wherever they want in the earth, you know, how would they be able to stop it? How would they be able to prevent it from spreading, you know, to our poultry, to our food supply? I'm just beginning to think, because I've been posting videos about this, and I was concerned about, you know, the avian flu and whether or not it is something that could be spread to humans, and maybe I'm looking at it wrong. Maybe we don't have to worry about any, you know, spread to humans. Maybe it's an attack on our food supply. So just a thought there. Let's continue reading. Let's see. Nationwide, more than 46 million chickens and turkeys have been killed by the disease or culled to prevent its spread. Most are in Iowa, the top U.S. egg-producing state, and Minnesota, the nation's top turkey-producing state. So I don't know if you've noticed, but I've noticed the price of eggs gone up more than 100% probably in my area. So there's an attack on your food supply there as well. If you can't afford to buy it, and if the chickens are sick and dead and we don't have them to purchase, you know, we eat a lot of chicken and eggs where I live. So anyway, let's see. Michigan is the 21st state to confirm a case of bird flu since late 2014, and the 6th to detect it only in wild or free-ranging birds. According to the department, 15 states have found the virus in poultry flocks. The discovery of the disease in Michigan was not unexpected, given avian influenza has been found in a number of our neighboring states and Ontario, said Jamie Clover Adams, director of the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. Wild birds are thought to be carriers of the virus, which also can be tracked onto poultry farms by people or trucks that come into contact with contaminated feces. It may also be carried into poultry barns by wind blowing in the contaminated dirt or dust.